guys and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, I'm Christina. So today's video, I've done a glittery gold half cut crease. If you want to see how to create this look, then keep on watching. Okay, so I have already primed my eyelids with Revolution concealer, and I've also done my eyebrows using Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade. So the palette today that I'm going to be using to create this look is the Anastasia Prism palette. For today's look, because I really want a sharp winged out eyeshadow, we are going to cheat today and we are going to use a little bit of sellotape. Sellotape honestly works wonders. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place a little bit of sellotape just right under here. You're going to be able to blend your under eyeshadow with the wing. The first shade I'm going to be dipping into is Unity. And I'm just going to be placing that slightly above my crease and just lightly blending that up the lid. It's just going to give it a nice sort of transition. Okay, so the next shade I'm going to dip into is going to be the shade Eden. This colour is going to be my transition shade, so I am going to be placing it right into the crease and yet again just blending it up the lid. Because this colour is my transition shade, I am going to keep on building it up a little bit as I really want that nice peachy colour in there. Okay, so once I'm happy with that blend, I'm then going to take the shade Saturn and I'm just also going to put that into my crease. We're just going to place this one slightly lower under the crease but then build it upwards, as we really want this to be sort of like a nice orangey eye. And I just dropped something on the floor. It really is quite a simple look to do, the look that I'm creating today. It really doesn't take too long, which is nice because it looks like it took a long time, but it actually hasn't. Okay, so the shade we're next going to be dipping into is this really nice dark shade Parallel. This is a nice dark brown. We're going to be placing this shade just on the outer corner. I'm just going to pat it slightly just to make it blend up nicely. I really want the outer corners to be nice and dark, so I am just going to keep on building that up just to make sure they're nice and dark. I'm going to slightly bring it over a little bit and into my crease. Just going to pat it on and just make sure it's nice and blended. Okay, I'm then going to take a clean Morphe blending brush. The brush that I'm using is a Morphe M139 and I'm just going to blend those together so they're nice and seamless. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be doing is we are going to be cutting the crease. I used to find cutting creases so terribly hard, but when you get the hang of them you'll find them so easy. So what I'm going to be cutting my crease with today is the Revolution concealer. This, if you haven't used it already, you really need to get your hands on it as it is amazing. So I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on to cutting your crease because it's how I learned, and bam! The brush I use to cut my crease is the Zoeva 237 Detail brush. It's a detail shader and it cuts the crease perfectly. So for cutting the crease, what you need to do is you really need to look at your eyelid and sort of look where the crease needs to be. So I'm going to say mine is there. But a little tip is to just look up, and if it smudges, that's where the crease needs to be. I'm now happy with that crease. So now I'm going to take a flat synthetic shadow brush. This one I'm using is from the Tarte Unicorn collection. I'm going to be dipping into the shade Pyramid. I'm going to be placing this shade all over the lid and just sort of patting it on so it sticks to the concealer. It's probably quite a boring, tedious process, but it will look the bomb when you're finished. Okay, what I'm going to do next is I like to go in with a Morphe M508 smudger brush, as it's got a really nice sort of flat tip. This I find just gets up really nice and close to the crease. Dip back into the shade Parallel, which is the nice dark brown, and I'm just going to pat that on the outer corner and just make sure that that's nice and blended. Just keep patting it on the outer corner and just making sure it's all nice and blended. Yet again, taking the nice clean fluffy brush, we're just going to make sure it's all nice and blended together, nice and seamless. And because we're using the sellotape, it's just going to be so nice and sharp when we take it off. So to make that gold pop, I'm going to be going in with Urban Decay's Midnight Cowboy, and I'm just going to be placing this all over the gold. And taking the flat synthetic brush again, I'm just going to pat the glitter on and just make sure that it's nice and even and blend it out with the other gold. In my waterline, I'm going to be using the NYX Golds and Bronze eyeliner pencil. This pencil really is one of my all-time favourites. Just goes so well with so many looks. Okay, we are now ready to peel it off. Just peel it off gently as it is around your eye area, but as you can see, it is nice and sharp. I'm just going to go in and just clear up some fallout. On the top of my eyelid, I'm going to be using Kat Von D Tattoo Liner, but I'm actually going to be using the Mad Max Brown. And I'm just going to do a thin line on the top of my waterline. For mascara today, I'm going to be using the Too Faced Better Than Sex. False eyelashes I'm going to be using today are the Morphe Posh Lashes, which I recently just bought, and they are so stunning. And I'm back. See how pretty these lashes are? I'm definitely going to be buying more of these. Okay, so now we're going to move on to my face. Please excuse how red I am. I am a really red person. I just go red any moment. This is why I love full coverage foundations so much. So first things first is I am going to be priming my skin using the Kat Von D Beauty Primer, Locket? Yeah, Locket Primer. So look how red and blotchy I go. This is normal for me. This is what's under all my makeup always. Just going to rub that into my skin using my fingers as this is a really hydrating primer. Soon all this redness will be gone. When I do my makeup usually as well, I have like this big granny pink headband on, but I feel like I can't wear it during makeup tutorials because it just looks so stupid. Okay, so I am now all primed, and because I am so red today, I am going to be using a little bit of green concealer. This green concealer is by NYX. This one is, to be honest, it's completely battered from where I've used it so much. And I'm just going to try and blend it slightly, oops, my bad, over all of the red. Also, I'm very spotty at the moment from Easter break. I ate so much rubbish, it was unreal. I had heartburn for like 4 days. So I'm just going to blend that in using a damp beauty blender. Okay, so for foundation, I'm also going to be using the Kat Von D Lock-It. It's going to focus. I'm just going to squirt a load on the back of my hand and just beat this face. I've got through 2 bottles of this foundation because I really do like it. The only thing I would say about it is I don't think it should be used on an older skin, because where it is such full coverage, it does sit in lines. As bless my mum got it, and my mum's actually got really good skin, but she found that it just didn't look right on her, and I must admit I agree. So we're just going to bring that down the neck and work that up. If anyone else could recommend me really good full coverage foundations, that would be really good, as I do like trying different ones all the time. One of my all-time favourite foundations is the Urban Decay All Nighter. I find that that is so nice for my skin, and it really is full coverage. So I usually take my nose ring out as well when I do my makeup, but with these claws I am not gonna be able to at all. See, look, that redness has just gone. So people ask me how I get so close to my brows when I do my foundation last, and I use the Kat Von D concealer brush because this is perfect for just going in and just blending right up against them. Because it's got a nice flat edge. Now my concealer's on and I'm looking like a crazy ghost. And then I'm going to go in with my concealer. This is the Naked Skin by Urban Decay, and I use the shade Fair Neutral. I'm going to place this in all the usual spots that I do. Along my giant nose, which I hate, above the lip, chin. I usually do my forehead, but I really don't want to go back in and blend around them brows again because I've just done them. So, taking my beauty blender again, just going to blend that in. Taking that concealer brush again, I'm just going to go up near my inner eye corners and just make sure it's nice and blended. Okay. Still using my damp beauty blender, I'm going to take my Kat Von D Lock-It translucent powder, and yes, I do like Kat Von D. I'm just going to dip my beauty blender into the translucent powder and pat it underneath my eyes. This just sets it really nicely and also brightens underneath the eye up, which is good for me because I do have really dark natural circles, and I've also got like a really deep vein that comes right here. So this is perfect for me. Also for me, I really like matte skin, so I usually put powder all over my face, but I'm just going to put the main parts at the moment with the sponge. Okay, so I'm going to then use, yet again, I'm going to use the Kat Von D powder brush, and I'm just going to place powder sort of all over my face first. And I'm just going to dust the excess off. I really need to add some colour because I'm looking like a ghost. So for contour, as always, I use my Zoeva Contour Spectrum palette. This palette is perfect for me because I'm really pale, and I find that it's not too warm, and it goes on perfectly, and it's just one of my favourites. So firstly, I always contour my nose. I contour my nose using the Tarte Unicorn brush, as it's got a really nice flat edge, and I absolutely hate my nose. I hate my nose so much, so any kind of contouring to make my nose look a little bit smaller, I'm gonna do. So I just sort of line the sides and bring it in. There. I make my nose look shorter by adding some dark here. You can also add some dark at the sides, and if you've got like a little bit of a turn up, then you can do that as well. I just dust the excess off the brush and then go in and blend it so it isn't as harsh. And once there's highlighter added to the nose, it will also look a lot nicer. Okay, for contouring the rest of my face, I always use the Kat Von D Shade and Light brush. I always blend these two shades together to do my cheek contouring, as that gives me a much nicer colour. Okay, so going back in with my Kat Von D translucent powder and my beauty blender, I'm just going to cut underneath my cheekbones and just make them look a little bit more sharp. I'm just going to let that set, well, I'm just going to let that bake there whilst I do my blush and highlighter. So for blush, I'm going to be using the Morphe blush palette as always. I'm not really a massive blush fan because obviously I am a really naturally red person as it is, so I don't use that much, but I am going to be using this nice shade here, just on the apples of my cheeks. For highlighter today, I am going to be using a palette which is completely battered, which is the Genius and Strobe by NYX, and I'm going to be using this nice gold shade as well as a bit of this one just to give it a blinding effect. Pretty. Now I've let my cheeks bake, I'm just going to dust the excess off, and as you can see it has created a little bit of a nice chiseled lip. I'm going to set all of my face by using Urban Decay's Chill Setting Spray. I'm then going to go back in with the Prism palette and do underneath my eyes. Firstly, we're going to be dipping into the shade Satin. And I'm going to be placing that sort of quite low underneath the lid. Going back in with the NYX highlighter palette, I'm going to dip into the golds that I used as highlighter, and I'm just going to highlight my eyebrow arch and my inner corners using that. Lastly, we just need to do lips, as my eyes are all finished now, and for lipstick I am going to be using Kat Von D in Hawkwind, which is this shade. Thank you for watching this tutorial. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please subscribe to my channel and give it a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Also, if there's anything else you would like me to film, leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching.